Hello and welcome to another FFplus interview episode. Today we are hosting Giacomo Barigazzi, Head of Development at the Axyon AI, which is an Italian fintech company. Giacomo, thank you for being with us today.
Hi, thank you for the opportunity. Great being here.
So, to start our interview, could you briefly introduce Axyon AI?
Yes, sure. Axyon AI is a fintech company specialized in using artificial intelligence, and within the artificial intelligence space, especially machine learning and deep learning, in combination with high performance computing to generate alpha. In the asset management space, what generating alpha means is supporting customers in providing them with suggestions that can help them in overperforming the market. So selecting the best stocks, commodities that have the highest probability of overperforming the benchmark. That's what we do at Axyon.
Thank you for this insight. So, from your perspective, what are the most transformative trends currently shaping the future of the fintech industry? What challenges does fintech industry face today?
In terms of opportunities and technologies that are disrupting the financial market space and finance in general, AI is by far the technology that has the greatest impact and the greatest potential to change the entire ecosystem. And it has, of course, many challenges that it faces, starting from regulation, the need for explainability. These are all challenges that needs to be addressed because performance itself, of course, it's the most important thing, but performance alone and model accuracy alone is not enough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So from challenges, let's go to talk a bit about your experience where you actually addressed some kind of challenges in fintech. So with the participation in the FF4EuroHPC Business Experiment. So can you briefly introduce your use case and the innovative solution you developed for it?
Yes. Let me start from a bit before this experiment. Since the very beginning, as a company, we have been looking at high performance computing as one of the two main sources that we leverage to provide our services to customers. The other source being the data that we use as input to train our models. Having access to a large amount of high quality data and combine this with sophisticated machine learning and deep learning technologies that are trained on HPC infrastructure. That's the scenario that to start with. So since our inception in 2026, we have partnered with research institutions such as Cineca here in Italy, and research institutions that are helping us in identifying the technologies that are best suited for the specific use case that we are targeting, which is an extremely complex game. Financial markets is probably one of the most complex game in the entire world, and we have done several projects that have been co-funded by the European Commission, local government, and so on. More specifically, on the FF4 HPC project, what we did was leveraging supercomputing infrastructure to build risk management features that would help us in providing to our customers a much wider range of solutions that include not only a better performance in terms of higher returns, but also lower volatility, which is something that is crucial in the asset management space. To give you an example, the main metric that everybody knows in financial markets, it's Sharpe ratio, which is returns divided by volatility. So you want to maximize your returns and at the same time minimize your volatility. And that was one of the main components of this project. The other component was making sure that we were able to expand the investable universe that we were able to cover at the beginning, and that has a lot to do with being able to fully use the high performance computing infrastructure that we had access to, thanks to our partners, Cineca and University of Modena for the research part. So these two components contributed to expanding our target market, being able to serve a much larger number of customers, including smaller players, and also reduce the costs for the computing cost and then maintenance cost of our models and model strategies.
So thank you very much for this really valuable insight into it. So we can hear now how valuable was this opportunity for a company in all kind of aspects. So from innovation, development, business benefits, even the collaboration with other organizations. So I already mentioned Cineca. So what other partners were involved in the project?
The other partner that was involved in the project was the University of Modena, and more specifically the AI Research Center of the University of Modena. We have partnered with these two research institutions in several projects. In this specific case, there were officially three partners, us being the coordinator, and Cineca being the provider of the supercomputing power necessary for model training, and of course the expertise and skills to be able to fully leverage the computing power. And for the AI machine learning research component, the main partner was the University of Modena. We have a long-standing collaboration with the University of Modena. We, as a company, have our headquarters in Modena, so it's a very easy. It was a very easy choice for us to engage with them, and we have now partnered in several projects together. So University of Modena was mostly involved in identifying new technologies in the deep learning space that are suited for the specific business case that we want to address. And this is a crucial activity for us. Almost every day there are new academic papers available that where the results of testing new technologies and methodologies are presented. And from our side, it would be impossible to stay up to date in this. With this large number of papers that are available every day. So it was very important. It's very important for us to partner with research institutions that can guide us in identifying these technologies and give us insights on which one of these technologies and new evolutions in the deep learning space are really fitting with what we do. And then, of course, there is the implementation, where University of Modena was involved. Together with us, of course, for supporting us in actually fully using these technologies, and that was the main contribution that these two partners provided us within this project.
And so thank you for again for the explanation. So it's very important to engage industry and research together to get to some very innovative ideas, and also to follow up the continuity of the development, of course. So if we are heading back to your experiment, you developed a so-called factory of AI and deep learning based models to support asset management. So what business benefits this bring to you, and how has the experience continued to support your company after the project ends?
Yes, that is a fun. I mean, it's really the core of what we do as a company. So, let me start from a bit before, and then I'll jump on onto the project and what the results of the projects and future exploitation of the results. Um, Financial markets are an extremely complex, challenging, and ever changing sector. If you think about other applications of deep learning technology, such as image recognition, face recognition, well, um, the human DNA will not change significantly for the next hundred of thousands of years. So once you train a model that is able to identify a human face and distinguish between a human face and something else, well, you can probably reach a very high accuracy of the models, and then you don't need to retrain your models once you have a model that is able to do that. In financial markets, things change literally every second, and we have seen a few examples in the recent months, like the tariff tantrum that we have seen in the U.S. market, and that has affected all markets actually. So there is always something new, and that is also the beauty of our sector. But the challenge is that we need to retrain our models very frequently in order to being able to capture the most recent events and use them as a proxy to to predict which stock has the highest probability of overperforming their benchmark. For those, so that is a key component in what we do, and it is very different from other areas where AI, machine learning, deep learning as a technologies are applied. So starting from this, as a company, we thought since the very beginning that instead of building one perfect model and then keep it for all our life, as a company, we thought that it was best to focus on building the factory of the AI models that we can leverage to, train and retrain our models, and also include new technologies in the machine learning and deep learning space. And fortunately, this bet proved to be the right one, because during the last few years, we have used this and enhanced this factory several times by introducing new machine learning and deep learning technologies, new features, and so on. So, what we do as a company is not building one model or one model set, but rather building the factory that then we can use to automatically build and update and upgrade the models. And this was, I mean, that is our core asset. And in the FF4 project, what we did was further enhancing and expanding the features and capabilities of this factory. And 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 that is also that is also the opportunity for us to fully benefit from the results of this project. So as we did in previous projects, all the benefits that this project provided us are still live and used, because they are contributing in the creation of this AI factory that is our core asset.
Mhm. So from training models, so let's talk a bit about the support, let's say, technology support and infrastructure besides. So can you share how HPC supports your AI workflows from model training to deployment? And what kind of computational challenges have you have to overcome during your experiment?
Absolutely. So the um, l- l- uh, let me describe the model development pipeline, and let's see where HPC is necessary in this pipeline. So we start by identifying the investable universe, which is the universe of the stocks that we want to focus on and our customers want us to focus on. Once this has been identified, we need to find which raw input data can be used and that are relevant for this specific investable universe. So we partner with a variety of data providers, MSCI, Morningstar, Refinitiv, all these relatively, I mean, very well known players in the financial space. Maybe not that well known outside of it, but I mean, big companies that provide financial data, alternative and traditional data. Then we clean this data, prepare this data for using this data for AI model development, and that's when where the HPC comes into place. So our goal as a company, I would say, is being able to identify patterns and correlations between input data to predict stock behavior. And in order to do so, we test several model architectures. So we change the number of layers in the neural network, the number of neurons, the activation function of the neuron, and all the characteristics of each neural network architecture. Oh, and of course, I was forgetting the we test several technologies in the deep learning space. Recurrent neural network, convolutional, transformer, and so on. Then, once we have done this and we have identified the set of the models that are best for the specific use case, we need to assemble these models and go live with a subset of the models that have been selected in the previous phase. In this assembling part, that is really the most challenging part of our process with respect to the computation power that is necessary for us. The To give you some numbers, we start from approximately 100,000 architectures, and then we select from these 100,000 we select approximately 10,000 models, and we want to go live with approximately 50 models. So I don't want to be too technical, but I think it's necessary. The hyperspace of the combination of 10,000 models, and you need to identify only 15, it's an extremely large number that would be impossible to identify the best combination without having access to HPC. It would take probably hundreds of millions of years to do so if you don't have access to an HPC infrastructure. And this is the component in our model development pipeline where really it would be impossible without access to the HPC and without the skills that allow us to do this. So this is where the HPC is used in our company, in our model development process, and more specifically in the FF4 project. What we did was moving from investable universes that included decades of stocks to investable universes that have hundreds of stocks or even more. When we again, without being too technical, in our pipeline, what we do is predict which the relative performance of securities in the financial markets. So what we do is an asset versus asset analysis. So we want to know whether the Coca-Cola stock will outperform Apple or Google and all the stocks in the investable universe that we focus on. So if you have an investable universe that includes 50 stocks, it's a 50 times 50 matrix. But if you have if you want to focus, let's say, on the S&P 500, is 500 versus 500. So it grows exponentially, the number of possible combinations. And for this reason, expanding our investable universes from decades to hundreds of stocks, it's an exponentially growing problem in terms of computing power that is necessary. And that was the one of the key components of the projects that we did, and thanks to Cineca and University of Modena, we solved that in the FF4 project.
So it was actually a huge work done. So after your explanation in all these, let's say, huge numbers we can heard today.
Yes, absolutely. It was a huge effort. Actually, more than effort, it's always like that, right? You start by thinking that everything, yeah, you will solve everything, but then during the 1.5 year approximately of project, of course, there were roadblocks and problems that we didn't identify in the beginning that we needed to solve. So it required well, more effort from our side to do it. But I mean, as it is the core of our company, the core of what we do, we were very happy to allocate more resources than initially planned to this project. And fortunately, that was also appreciated by the venture capital firms that invested in our company following the completion of these projects.
So let's wrap up the interview with some final thoughts. So what advice would you give to other SMEs that haven't yet explored the use of HPC or AI in their business?
Well, let me start from AI. Most companies in the next 3 years will be disrupted by AI, and usually these disruptions do not come in a linear form. So it's like an hockey stick, and you need to be able to embrace these technologies and to not being left behind. I always use this example of uh, many years ago in Montana, in the US, most people selling horses were saying that, well, cars are not used because there is snow and cars cannot go on snow while horses can. Well, I don't think that there are many horses in Montana, well, probably there are horses, but there are not many people using horses and a lot of people using cars. So when a new technologies arrives, at the very beginning, everyone is skeptical. There are a lot of issues, but then, well, you cannot not use these technologies, and so AI is already disrupting and will disrupt the market in a relatively very short period of time. And if you talk about AI, you cannot prevent from talking about HPC. I cannot train a model on my laptop, an AI model, a sophisticated AI model on my laptop. You need the infrastructure. There might be use cases where you don't need as much HPC as you need in what we do and in what many other companies are doing. But I mean, if it is a competing game like financial markets, your goal is not reaching 100% of model accuracy, but being better than your peers, than your competitors. And HPC can really provide this kind of competitive advantage that you need to leverage to be successful. So you cannot talk about AI without talking about HPC. And, well, everybody always overestimate what is going to happen in 1 year, but underestimate what is going to happen in 5 years. And I'm pretty sure that in 5 years, AI will be used everywhere. And you cannot think about having a company without AI if you want to start something now. So that's my advice to companies that are at the very beginning of their journeys.
So Giacomo, thank you so much for this insight interview. It was a pleasure having you with us. So wish you all the best in your future endeavors.
Thank you very much. And again, my pleasure participating in this interview. Thanks.
Goodbye.
Bye.